Hello and welcome back to Careers in Music. Today we're still talking about the musician as a business person with two new career potentials, the music publisher and the music retailer. Again, this presentation, just a reminder, can be found on our Google Classroom in slide format. As well, don't forget to answer the discussion question of the week related to this lesson. All right, let's begin. So just as a recap, remember, the field of music is huge. There's a lot going on, but all that you need to remember is that you have to have a passion and a drive to keep this going, right? And to keep your dreams alive. Just please remember that the music industry is still alive and still really thriving today. So don't forget that. Don't let your dreams fall down by witnessing things and the evolution of the music industry today. Okay, the possibilities are endless. Okay, all you have to have is passion. So this week's question that I really like is, are you willing to go the extra mile? People in the music industry, different career paths, require people to go above and beyond what is required of them. Especially today, if you want to get noticed in any career in the music industry, right, you have to be willing to kind of put that hard work in, go the extra mile. So, today we are still focusing on musician as a business person. Okay, with these two new career options, the music publisher and the music retailer. So let's get right into them. What is a music publisher? Well, a music publisher can be categorized into three different things. The standard publisher, okay, who specializes in classical and serious contemporary music. The education publisher, who specializes in publishing and printing music for instructional and school uses. Or you have the popular music publisher, who then publishes and prints music on new songs and the standard popular songs of the past that are played on the radio, TV, film, and are posted digitally or to CD format, and to this resurgence of vinyls as well. So essentially, a publisher seeks out composers who are talented and feels that they are going to be profitable in terms of getting their music published and getting it out to the public. Now, when I say published, I mean in a couple different ways. In terms of actual written musical form, but also in terms of putting that music out into the digital world, publishing it to the public on platforms such as iTunes or Spotify, or publishing it in paper sheet music format where people can actually go and buy it. So if you go to a music store like Long & McQuaid or St. John's Music or your local music store, you will find on the shelves different publications of music in written sheet music form, and that's what a music publisher does. Now, music publishers make money by taking a cut of the royalties that are made on the music that they published. For example, every time a song gets played on the radio, every time a song or a packet or booklet or score of music is bought, the publisher makes a small piece of that money, a royalty on that purchase. Composers today, though, often self-publish their own works, and so in some ways, even young musicians who just want to get their sound out there, okay, you are a music publisher on your own. If you record something and you post it to YouTube, that essentially makes you a publisher. But there are big name publishers too, such as Disney, Warner Brothers. Hal Leonard is a big one for school music, as well as Alfred. Warner Brothers also does quite a bit as well. In terms of the digital world, you get Capitol, EMI Music Publishing, Sony, okay, Universal as well. What do they do? What does a music publisher do? Well, they present music for all to the publish. That should not say ale, well, that should say all, for all to publish in print or in sound form. Publishers are found all over this country. There are three main hubs, though, centers for music publishers in Canada. That is Toronto, Vancouver, and Montreal. These are the big name centers for music publishing in Canada. The salaries do range. okay, from about 28,000 at the entry level up to 141,000 Canadian per year. You can go above this depending on the job, the location, and your status in the industry, just like any job. The higher up you are, typically the more you make. But there are many different subcategories of careers that deal with publishing, right? You've got the professional manager, the transcriber, taking one piece of music and transcribing it to another piece of music, or writing it down, taking it from what they hear and actually composing it. The copyright manager. Remember, copyright is really big. Somebody to legally make sure that nothing is being copied from another artist, or that another artist doesn't copy you. The tape copier, right? Somebody who transfers the sound from one format, such as digital, to CD. Sheet music preparation, okay? People who actually have to prepare the sheet music, print the sheet music, make sure everything's in order and together for when it goes on out to sale. And advertising, right? Especially when we're looking at music, digital music, okay, advertising is key. How are you going to get your sound out there? Especially too in terms of school music, right? That kind of more professional side. How are you going to market and advertise your music to giant orchestras, to school bands, to school band programs? Publishers in Canada. The Music Publishers Canada and the Canadian Music Publishers Association, these are the two big name conglomerates or organizations that help people publish music properly and legally. Okay, I would highly recommend you take a look at their website, musicpublisher.ca. And they ensure that the value and contribution of music publishers, music publishing, and copyright management across this country is understood not only by the artists, but the music industry, the users of the copyrights, and the governments as well. It's very important that government understands how music is published and how it should be protected. And how they also inform the industry experts on compensation, making sure that people get paid fairly for the work they do, right? You always want to monetize your talents. If you're very good at music and you're publishing music all the time and you're making no money off of it, that's great if that's your goal, but you should always try to monetize your talents if you can. The next career we're going to look at is the music retailer. There are 3 different avenues for music retail. The business side, which is typically the selling of musical instruments, clothing, and music itself, such as Sunshine Records or the old school HMV. You also get the performer, right? Selling your musical talents, right? For example, guitar lessons, drum lessons, or as the educator, which is lessons as well, coordinating with schools, sheet music instruments. The performer avenue, though, selling your musical talent as a music retailer is kind of like the gig economy, right? A group or a wedding party wants you to play at their wedding. Okay, you are then a music retailer in terms of the performer avenue. The types of music retailers, when we talk about stores, there's the full-line store, which sells products across all musical instrument categories and even some pro audio categories, just like Long & McQuaid or St. John's Music. You have institutional retailers that sell some products but focus on lessons and repairs. Okay, there are some shops in Calgary as well as Airdrie that really do focus on just doing lessons and repairing instruments. They don't sell instruments. And then there's a combo type retailer which does sell instruments, do repairs, and have lessons at the same time, like St. John's Music or Long & McQuaid. Okay, you also get some specialty stores that only sell specific things, such as music, such as guitars only. There's a couple of shops in Calgary that sell just pianos, or that's actually also just sell string instruments like violins. So you get specialty, different types of stores as well in this kind of milieu or myriad of stores. Now, what do they do? Well, in a music retail store, sales associates, people who sell music or who own these retail stores, they're not required to have any post-secondary background, typically. It does help if you have a business or musical background, but having a degree in performance or another music-related major can help in giving these associates or the people who own the retail shops an in-depth knowledge of musical instruments prior to starting in the shop or prior to opening up a retail store. Experience with and knowledge regarding a specific instrument are a must for sales associates. If you go to Long & McQuaid or you go to St. John's Music, especially if you take a look at Long & McQuaid, the majority of folks in there know a lot about guitars. There's a couple of people in there who know a lot about drums, and so they're specialized in what they know about specific instrument and instrument groups. On average, the music store salesperson or the owner of a music store typically rings in about $47,000 annually. It can go up depending on the size, availability of product, and your location of your store. The National Association of Musical Merchandisers, the acronym NAMM, N-A-M-M, okay, this is a big music retailer and an association that brings retailers together and people who make products and merchandise for retail stores. Their mission is to strengthen the music products industry and promote the pleasures and benefits of simply making music. They do have a conference every year, and last year it was in California. This year it has been canceled, but hopefully it'll be on next year. It's usually in the United States, typically. Okay, and they promote and represent the shared interests of merchandisers and retailers to elected officials and policymakers in both Canada and the United States. Okay, so they are the ones who advocate for these retailers, typically at the government level. If you want to know more, head to the slide, go to the website. It's pretty awesome. Okay. That's all for today, folks, in terms of these two careers, the music retailer as well as the music publisher, Don't forget to answer this week's discussion question on our Google Classroom, and we will see you next week. Thank you very much for listening. Have an awesome week ahead.